Hello everyone, my name is Skylar Fox, and this is Project Mycer, a 3D action-adventure superhero game with some JRPG elements. As one might imagine for a superhero game, the player can talk to various civilians and take on different side missions separate from the main story. And in today's devlog, I am going to be going over how I set up the dialogue system and the mission system for this game. In my previous project, Master of the Wind Remake, there was only ever one character you could talk to in-game, so I just hard-coded everything that she could say in one blueprint. But now that I'm making a game that's going to have several characters that the player can talk to, I needed to make a more dynamic and flexible system that would allow me to quickly make loads of different encounters. I started with creating a structure, which is basically a list of different variables, where I would enter in different values such as a character's name, the line of dialogue, animations and sounds that would play for the dialogue, etc. Then I would nest that structure inside of another structure so I can kind of create this array of different structures for each line of dialogue and all the behavior that is expected to occur for each line. In each of these parent conversation structures, I would have it check for different variables to determine which conversation the NPC would actually choose, and this would be based on things like the overall story progression and missions that the player had done. My initial idea was to have these structures exposed to the NPC blueprint and then add in each value like this. But as you can probably guess from this footage, this wasn't exactly the most visually user-friendly way of approaching this. Because I wanted this system to be so dynamic, there are a lot of variables that I don't often use that much, but they still end up taking a lot of visual space and can be a bit of a distraction. I tried putting up with it for a little bit, but after working with this system for a while, I knew I had to make some changes. If I'm already finding it annoying trying to navigate these nested structures just to make test dialogue, I would be in danger of getting burned out fast when I would have to make hundreds of these for the full game. Ideally, I wanted something that would be visually more like a dialogue tree, but I wasn't really sure how to approach it at first. Until I realized that AI behavior trees are essentially just that. Even though I was looking at AI behavior trees and I was like, oh, I mean, that's just for determining, when an enemy AI will attack or move or walk or anything like that, you can absolutely use that for dialogue. Now, instead of having to navigate through various nested structures, I could just create behavior tree tasks that had exposed variables that I can customize and just use Blackboard decorators to determine how the conversation actually goes. So then the only thing I actually used structures for in the NPC blueprint was to just have it check for the player's story progression and mission progression, and then choose which conversation behavior tree to select from. The one minor downside to this is that it does mean that I will have to be creating a lot of different behavior trees per conversation, and so that will be a lot of files to track, but all in all, this feels significantly more user-friendly than the original method I tried. Transitioning over to the mission system, I have a list that can be accessed in the pause menu where players can look at active missions and completed missions, or both. And in each mission, there will be a brief description, a list of different objectives, such as how many enemies of a certain type to defeat or a location to reach, as well as the mission rewards. In order to get this to work, I created a blueprint actor that will act as the mission tracker, and any other actors that can have an effect on missions will interact with this actor. For example, I modified the parent enemy blueprint so that when they are defeated, it will send that information over to the mission tracker, and the mission tracker will check to see if that contributes to any active mission's progress. There are also blueprint actors I created to act as objective locations to keep track of, and I created behavior tree tasks for the NPCs to be able to check a specific mission's progress and react accordingly. Another aspect to the mission system I added was allowing a mission to expire. And I'm not 100% sure if I'm actually going to implement this in the game, but I wanted to have this available just in case. Having missions or side quests get to a point where they can just be straight up uncompletable can be a controversial design decision. I know when I played NieR Replicant years ago, there was some frustration in knowing that there were some quests I would not be able to complete without starting a new game. But there was also something kind of neat about that. It made the world feel a little more real. Just knowing that some side quests aren't going to last for infinity. Again, it might not end up being something I use, but I wanted to have it available in the system, so I have it as an option available. But so far, we got a pretty good set of systems that will help with developing the full game. And I don't plan on making most of these missions too complex, as the game is largely going to be designed as a linear game that just has some side stuff to do, rather than a big open world game. But that should do it for today's video. Be sure to subscribe if you are interested in keeping up with this project's development, and feel free to leave a comment and share your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.